stuck at home. And here we are again. I just want to thank you for being a part of our devotional experience here. This is, well, it's growing on me. Let's put it that way. And we're thankful to be able to do this. And for many of you, I haven't been able to see your face. We've either texted or spoken on the phone or written, but hopefully this is a way that we can keep in touch also. We've been thinking about things that we just simply don't want to hear in the same way that we've heard them in recent days. And I know this is a very simple one, but I don't want to hear anything about gloves unless I'm working in the garden or out doing the lawn. Sick of the glove thing. Can you imagine wearing gloves everywhere you go? It just doesn't seem normal. Hands get all sweaty. My hands are typically too big for most of the rubber gloves that they try and put on you, so awfully frustrating. So don't want to hear about it anymore. Not the way that we've been hearing about it, unless I'm working out in the yard, and that'll be just fine with me. Well, we've been talking about a lot of different subjects lately, some that are more relevant to the current situation in our culture, some that aren't. One of the things that's happened recently is a tremendous kind of progressive movement, what we call progressivism, to eradicate anything that is a blemish on the history of our nation. Well, I just want you to think about where this ends up. First and foremost, there's many different examples of those movements that have sought to eradicate all the injustices and bad of the culture in the past, start new with this new fresh breed of leadership that they are the enlightened ones. They know how to do it. That, by the way, has led to hundreds of millions of deaths in our lifetime. Certainly in mine. But that's okay. I respect the fact that a person wants to see themselves as being more enlightened than those that have come before. That's perfectly fine. But let me just give you a little insight as to how that will also affect your reading of the Bible. Well, you couldn't read the Old Testament. Especially you couldn't read the Pentateuch. When we talk about the moral character of Moses, he was a murderer. He also endorsed slavery and ethnocide. Remember, they were to wipe out entire populations. No one was to live, men, women, and children. Can't read the Pentateuch, and you can't read the majority of the rest of the Bible because it's built upon that premise. Judges, the book of Esther. Can't read about that. Can't read about David because he, hundreds of concubines and wives, many wives. Not to mention what went on in his family, and not to mention that he murdered Uriah. Can't read anything written by David. That blows up most of the Psalms. Can't read Solomon. Solomon was even worse than his father. And in 1 Kings chapter 10 and 11, it led to idolatry, tremendous idolatry, where some people believe that act led to the sacrificing of small children. Can't read Solomon. That blows up a lot of that. There are some of the prophets you can really be inclined towards, but they, remember, base their prophecy on the nation of Israel and the promises given to the nation, and the nation's relationship to the Pentateuch, the first 5 books of the Bible. Oh, that's not working too good. Can't read any of the New Testament because they believed in slavery, and they didn't even say to fight against it. In fact, in all of the Pauline epistles, he encouraged, and Petrine epistles, Peter's words, they didn't say anything about revolting. Can't read their right. In fact, as we know, Peter and all of the disciples denied the Lord. And so I guess that kind of wipes out everything in the New Testament. I mean, I guess we could go with Luke. So he's stuck with Luke, Mark, But you can't read Paul. He condoned murder there in Acts 7. And he even described himself in 1 Timothy 1 as an incredibly violent and abusive person. He also condoned slavery and told servants to live respectfully in Ephesians chapter 6 and other portions towards their masters. I don't know. I just don't know. I guess we can't read the Bible anymore because we're too much better than that. You can see where this goes. What we do know is this, as we've said in the past. Humanity is humanity. Good people do bad things. The human heart is just as evil as it is good. And for a person to act as if they themselves do not contain the same evil in their own heart, well, let me just say, the Word of God very clearly speaks in Jeremiah 17 and verse 9 and 10 about the human heart being, first of all, deceitful and incurable. It's incurably wicked. Who can know it? Only God can search the heart. I don't know about you, but I'm thankful that I am a recipient in Isaiah 55 and verse 1 and on of the sure mercies of David. I need mercy. I think everyone in this world does. Now, maybe you don't. Maybe you and I, or there are people out there that feel like they have the right to impugn the character of any person. Well, just know this, that God does search the heart. He's very clear on that. Verse 10 there in Jeremiah 17, Revelations 2:23. Many verses we've talked about this in the past. He examines us in Psalm 26:1. He knows us, knows our thoughts, knows our uprising and our downsitting, all the various aspects of our heart. In Psalm 139, he knows us. He will be the true judge of these things. And so maybe for some people, I'm not saying who or how or why, it's not about righting a wrong, but it is about power. Only God knows. Make sure that you're not part of a movement that's based upon redistributing power, because that's God's business as to how that should happen, not yours, not mine. As Christians, it's not in our realm. It's not what we should be involved with. Now, as citizens of the United States, vote your conscience before God. And as a citizen, you can have an opinion before God. But make sure that your opinion is not disrespectful to the God whom you serve, because then we've done more harm than good. I hope this helps. This is just basically me looking at what's going on and sharing my thoughts about it. God bless you.